It's difficult not to get irritated. Take a look at this.
These applications for humans?
So far, that was the first. Glaucoma and also sudden blindness. It's called Nion, which is now twice as more prevalent because of the GLP-1 drugs.
Really?
It's not well known, obviously. Companies don't want to talk about it. But yes, sudden blindness has doubled seemingly because of these meds. So you have to be
Holy shit.
careful.
Sudden blindness has doubled because of GLP-1s?
Due to Nion, which is like a stroke in your eye.
So that's David Sinclair. He's a professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School, and he's telling millions of people here on the Joe Rogan podcast that Ozempic has doubled sudden blindness. Now, of course, this sounds scary, and it makes you wonder if you need to stop your GLP-1 or warn your friends and family members to stop. So NION, it stands for non-arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy, and it happens when blood flow to the optic nerve drops. So people often call it an optic nerve stroke, and it causes sudden, painless vision loss in one eye, and it's usually noticed upon waking up. Now, if you're above 50 years of age, NION happens in roughly 1 in 10,000 people every year. So 1 in 10,000, remember that number. Now, despite its frequency, we don't exactly know what causes it, but we do know that things like diabetes, smoking, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol all increase your risk. So in other words, these are the exact types of people who are prescribed a GLP-1 medication. So where did the alarm start that GLP-1 medications themselves might also increase the risk of NION? So enter Joseph Rizzo, who, like Sinclair, he's also at Harvard. Rizzo is a professor of ophthalmology, and he noticed that his NION patients, they seem to be on semaglutide, so that's a GLP-1 medication, more often than what he'd expect. So his team went back through the records, and they counted. Among their patients with type 2 diabetes, 17 on semaglutide developed NION against 6 in the comparison group. Among those who were overweight or obese, 20 were on semaglutide against 3. So a total of just 37 NION cases were taking semaglutide. Now, bear in mind that this was out of 16,827 high-risk patients at one ophthalmology clinic. So the actual risk of NION is tiny, and given the small amount of cases, we don't know whether from this one study, if GLP-1 medications do truly increase the risk or not. And the authors of this paper, they point out these issues. It's a retrospective paper, and again, tiny numbers, and they finish by concluding that the design of our study does not enable query into the causal relationship between the two. And get this, our manual review of the records for the study revealed that 40% of cases coded as NION were not actually NION, but rather arteritic ischemic optic neuropathy from giant cell arteritis. So far then, we know that diabetes and metabolic syndrome, they increase the 1 in 10,000 risk of NION, the exact patients whom GLP-1 medications are prescribed, and we've got a very controversial paper that tentatively suggests a possible link with GLP-1s. But that's not at all what Sinclair makes it out to be. Nothing here is a criticism of Rizzo or his work. He's done great work. It's how people like Sinclair have actually covered this paper. Now, given the amount of people who use GLP-1 medications by now, if there was a huge risk of increased blindness, we would know many people who are blind. But you do not, because these studies don't apply to the general population. This is how a data scientist on X called Cremu was responding to David Sinclair. So I'm quoting now. He says, "I pointed this out before in a post linked in the thread that David is replying to, meaning that in addition to being daft, a liar, or both, he's also not circumspect, because his specific links were already shown to lead to absurd conclusions. David only holds up in weak studies with small samples, poor controls, and results that imply huge proportions of the population should have already gone blind, and they have not. They are obviously wrong." Sinclair then responded to that post by saying, "Are you paid to post this? Read the scientific literature," for which David Sinclair was community noted, saying, "The linked studies examine patients at one specialist clinic," which again is what we've gone through in this video, "and do not show sudden blindness has doubled in the general population. NION remains very rare, up to 1 in 10,000 patients with GLP-1 drugs." Like I said at the start of the video, I struggle not to get irritated here, because poor scientific communication, like what Sinclair constantly does, makes my patient's health worse at the clinic. It creates more work for primary care physicians like me to correct these errors and to use up my patient's valuable time to explain to them why a Harvard professor is wrong, especially because Sinclair's got financial interests in spreading this garbage. So he is developing a therapy that he believes will help with this issue that isn't actually an issue, so he's financially incentivized to play it up. Here's what the clinical guidelines actually say about Nion. Subsequent studies have yielded mixed results, with some suggesting an association and others finding no increased risk. Additionally, the biologic plausibility of a mechanistic link between GLP-1s and optic nerve ischemia remains unproven, and GLP-1s appear to be neuroprotective in other settings. So here's what I do warn my patients about regarding GLP-1 medications. I do warn them about muscle loss. So any weight loss strategy will result in some muscle mass loss. Now, it's not specific to GLP-1s. Any type of weight loss seems to be associated with this, and there are specific things that a patient can do to minimize that muscle mass loss. Things like resistance exercise, making sure they're getting enough protein in their diet. There was a concern about pancreatitis and thyroid cancer, but the real-world data on both of those issues have been reassuring. And while I personally take low-dose tirzepatide, I've got no financial interest in GLP-1 medications, and I explain why I take low-dose tirzepatide in this video here. And I've put the full write-up, so the transcript and every study that I've cited in this video, over at drstanfield.com. Link is in the pinned comment below. And if you want early access to videos like this and priority replies to your comments, you can join as a channel member or over on Patreon. Links are below.